Harry Brook has left the Delhi Capitals. He was a big money signing for the second season in a row. He won't be playing in the IPL. He's like to have a band. We talked about that last week. The news this week, though, is about who's going to be replacing him. There was a lot of chatter online. Would it be DeWalt Brevis? Would it be... I'm trying to think who else was associated with it. But it looks like, from what we're hearing, though there's been no official confirmation, it's going to be former Sri Lanka white ball captain Dusan Shanaka. If you're watching this and you don't know kind of mine and Nick's background, we basically make a lot of Sri Lanka content. Nick's written the guide to Sri Lankan cricket, the actual history of an Islands 11, which I highly recommend you check out. And I just watch lots of it and sit in the spare room talking about it online all the time. And me and you are about as big as Sri Lanka fans as you can get, and we were pretty shocked by Dusan Shanaka making it into the IPL 2025, right?
Yeah, really shocked. I guess the first thing to say is, why would they have picked him? And I think it's clear he was playing for the Dubai Capitals in the ILT20, and he had a really good tournament, albeit from a fairly limited sample size. So he faced 81 balls in the tournament. He struck at 202. He hit 13 fours and 11 sixes. So that's a boundary pretty much. More than a boundary every 4 balls. So he did really well in that tournament. It's worth mentioning he didn't bowl, so he won't bowl in the IPL. He's being picked as a batter, if indeed he has been picked. So I've said all that, but Marky, I think we should talk about why this is a weird decision. We've been watching him as a finisher for Sri Lanka for years, and I think it's fair to say that at best he showed really mixed returns, right? In T20Is, he averages 19.6, striking around 122. It just seems a really strange decision. He's got a really pronounced weakness against spin as well. I think everyone's known about this for a long time, but quick side note and a plug for Himanish Ganju, who's done a new website, t20bat.streamlit.app, which gives laymen like us the ability to get the kind of data which is usually reserved for analysts. And so you can go in there, you can type in a batter, and you can see how they've done in all the major franchise leagues with different shots, different scoring areas against different bowling types. And so I saw from that data that Shanaka in major T20 leagues, it doesn't include the LPL for now, but he strikes at 93 against spin and has a really high dot ball percentage. So basically, he's a guy who can whack pace at the back end of the innings, but doesn't do that regularly. I think, for my money, if I was in the Delhi Capitals recruitment team, there are players in Sri Lanka I would have gone for ahead of Shanaka, namely Kusal Mendis and Charith Asalanka. I can see why maybe they wouldn't have gone for someone like Patham Nissanka, given that they've got KL Rahul and they want to surround him with blasters. But, I mean, then if you spread the net wider, I'm a really big fan of Brevis. I firmly believe that he was picked for the IPL at the wrong time when he was too young and showed flashes of potential, and now he's going to really start coming good. You could have potentially also had, I don't know, someone like Ben Duckett, maybe Johnny Bairstow's long in the tooth, but I would pick him over Dusan Shanaka, even someone young like Loandre Pretorius. I think there were so many options out there who just provide you with something more reliable than Dusan Shanaka at this stage. I think the likelihood is that he probably won't play because now they've promoted Faf to vice captain. I thought Faf was going to start on the bench when Brook was there. But so, yeah, I can't see Shanaka being in the 11. I think he does a similar role to Donovan Ferreira, who's another guy who they've got probably warming the bench, and Ferreira would be ahead of him in the pecking order. I just find it pretty strange all round.
So I think I should make clear that, in general, me and Nick are Dusan fans, right? However, the reason why I find it strange is because I don't think he's making a shrunken T20 11 at the moment. He hasn't been around that conversation for a little while. He slipped out of it. But there is, I think, an interesting thing here. That's that he was playing for the Dubai Capitals in the ILT20. He did really well there. He had a good. He was in good form in that tournament, and as a direct consequence of that, he's ended up getting into the IPL. When I first saw a picture of him, with the Delhi Capital side, I thought maybe he was a net bowler. I couldn't believe that they were going to give him a contract. Not because I have anything against him, but because I think he's not quite at that level. You know, as Nick, as you mentioned, there's several other Sri Lankan players who I think are in better form than he is at the moment. And it feels like a totally weird decision, but it shows, I think, that there's starting to be a little bit more depth and a little bit more thinking to the way these organisations are run. And it's not just the case as it might have been a few years ago about, right, who's available in the market. They're actually thinking a little bit about what these players are bringing beyond what they do on the pitch. What do they bring to the dressing room? What have they done when they've fitted into other bits of the organisation and when they've been in different places around the world? And I think it's testament to players like Darshan Shanaka who are going around the world playing in tournaments that the ILT20 was basically impossible to watch in the UK. But it's testament to go around and play franchise cricket around the world, because you will not pick up a contract just from not playing cricket. You have to be playing cricket, and if you can get to leagues which the IPL teams are operating in, and ideally be one of their squads, and you can get to the promised land off the Premier League.
Totally, man. I think we're starting to see that more global outlook towards these T20 franchises, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm nothing against Darshan Shanaka, and I think it should be said that on flat pitches, he can crush pace. Delhi was the most high-scoring ground in the IPL last year, and so if you get him in on a flat one in the last 4 overs, he can do damage, right? I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to outright fail. But if I look at that Delhi side as we think it's going to shape up, their top 3, I would imagine now will be KL Rahul, Jake Fraser-McGurk, and Faf du Plessis. Faf had a really good year for RCB. Last year, I think it was the highest he's struck in the IPL, around 160. But he's nearly 41, and he had a pretty middling SA20. Jake Fraser-McGurk has had not the best 12 months since the last IPL. So if one of those guys fails, they don't have, as far as I can see, a backup opener on the bench. They're going to have to promote someone into the top 3 from that lower middle order, a Perel or a Stubbs or an Ashutosh. All of those guys, I think, can do those top 3 roles. But I think it would have made more sense for them to go after either a backup kind of top 3 batter or someone like Brevis, who's much more versatile, who can bat 3 to 6. I think with Shanaka, you get a pretty limited skill set, and we've seen in the past that he, at the top franchise level, can he deliver it that reliably? I'm not 100% sure.